What if the country America should be most concerned about in 2025 isn't China, Russia, or even North Korea, but a rising nation right in Southeast Asia? A country with unmatched control over global trade routes, growing economic influence, and strong ties with the world's biggest powers. That country is Malaysia. Often overlooked, Malaysia is quietly building the kind of influence that could reshape the balance of power in Asia, and challenge U.S. dominance in ways most people don't see coming. So, the question is, why should America be afraid of Malaysia in 2025? Let's uncover the surprising truth. 1. Strategic location in Southeast Asia. Malaysia's location is its greatest weapon. Sitting on the Strait of Malacca, one of the busiest maritime routes in the world, it controls a choke point that is critical to global trade. Nearly 25% of the world's traded goods, including vital oil and gas supplies heading to China, Japan, and South Korea, pass through these waters. If Malaysia decides to cooperate more closely with China or assert greater control over this shipping lane, it could cause massive disruptions for the United States and its allies. America's economy and military both rely on free navigation in this area, so Malaysia's geographic advantage makes it a nation Washington cannot afford to underestimate in 2025. 2. Growing economic power. Malaysia's economy is transforming rapidly, positioning itself as a future powerhouse in Asia. Known for palm oil, rubber, and natural resources, the country is now expanding into advanced industries like semiconductors, electronics, renewable energy, and digital services. In fact, Malaysia is becoming a critical player in the global semiconductor supply chain, which is something the United States heavily relies on for its technology sector. By diversifying its economy and attracting foreign investment, especially from Asia and the Middle East, Malaysia is reducing its dependence on Western trade. This shift increases its economic resilience and weakens U.S. leverage, making Malaysia an independent force that could challenge American interests in global markets in 2025. 3. Strong ties with China. One of the biggest reasons the U.S. should fear Malaysia in 2025 is its growing closeness with China. As America tries to contain Beijing's influence in Asia, Malaysia is instead deepening its economic and military ties with China. Through projects like the Belt and Road Initiative, China is funding infrastructure in Malaysia, strengthening its connectivity and boosting trade. Additionally, Beijing and Kuala Lumpur share interests in the South China Sea, where U.S. influence is already being challenged. By siding with China on certain issues, Malaysia undermines Washington's strategy in Southeast Asia. This partnership gives China greater reach in the region and positions Malaysia as a key ally against U.S. dominance in Asia. 4. Influence in the Islamic world. Malaysia plays a powerful role as a Muslim-majority country with moderate leadership. Unlike many nations that remain silent, Malaysia consistently criticizes American foreign policies, especially regarding Palestine and conflicts in the Middle East. This gives it credibility and moral influence across the Islamic world. At the same time, Malaysia presents itself as a peaceful, modern Muslim nation that can lead with both faith and development. Many Muslim countries look up to its balanced model, allowing Kuala Lumpur to shape opinions against U.S. policies. By amplifying anti-Western sentiment on global platforms, Malaysia can rally support among Muslim nations, creating diplomatic challenges for America in both the United Nations and other global institutions. 5. Military modernization. Though Malaysia is not a military superpower, its defense modernization program is changing the balance of power in Southeast Asia. The country is investing in naval upgrades, air defense systems, and drone technology. It is also building stronger defense partnerships with countries like Turkey, Russia, and China, which all have complicated relationships with the United States. By focusing on coastal defense and maritime security, Malaysia is securing its sovereignty in the South China Sea, a region where the U.S. maintains heavy naval presence. While Malaysia cannot match America's global military might, its regional improvements increase the risks and costs for the U.S. Navy operating in Southeast Asia, making Washington more cautious in 2025. 6. Champion of the Global South. Malaysia has become a strong voice for the Global South, speaking against Western dominance in trade, finance, and climate change negotiations. It often calls out double standards by the US and its allies, earning respect among developing nations. Through ASEAN, the non-aligned movement, and even new platforms like BRICS Plus, Malaysia is pushing for fairer trade systems and reduced dependence on the dollar. By uniting developing countries, it challenges the narrative of US leadership in global affairs. For America, this is a threat because it reduces its diplomatic influence and makes it harder to isolate rivals like China or Russia. Malaysia's leadership in the global south ensures it cannot be ignored on the world stage. 7. South China Sea disputes. The South China Sea is one of the most contested regions in the world, and Malaysia plays a central role in it. While it has its own territorial claims, Malaysia has been increasingly assertive about protecting its waters and resources. Backed by China's rising influence, Malaysia could restrict US military freedom in these waters. This directly threatens Washington's Indo-Pacific strategy, which relies on open sea lanes and naval dominance. If Malaysia takes a tougher stance, supported by Beijing, America's ability to project power in Asia will weaken. This makes Malaysia not just a regional player but a decisive factor in the future of US influence across the entire Indo-Pacific region. 8. Tech and digital growth. Malaysia is rapidly becoming a leader in Southeast Asia's digital economy. Its investments in artificial intelligence, fintech, green energy, and e-commerce are transforming it into a technology hub. Unlike in the past, where nations depended on US companies for tech solutions, Malaysia is building partnerships with China, India, and Middle Eastern investors. This reduces reliance on American tech giants and creates a new, independent digital ecosystem. With its young population and strong government focus on digital transformation, Malaysia is set to become a competitor in areas the US once dominated. This rise in technology and innovation allows Malaysia to grow both economically and politically, creating a future where Washington has less control.